All right, I want to welcome everyone to our live Saturday morning presentation. We're going to be talking about the science of ProArgi-9 Plus today, and we've been spending a lot of time for the last couple really months on the microbiome and helping people understand how they can reset their gut health through resetting their microbiome. The flagship product of Synergy Worldwide still is ProArgi-9 Plus. We'll have to see if the microbiome product line overtakes this. But today we want to help you understand the science of ProArgi-9 Plus. And what I've tried to do in today's presentation is not only provide you with information, but also provide you with resources where you can find this information. I've got this in a PDF, and when we send out the newsletter on Monday, there'll be a recording of today's presentation on YouTube, as well as I'll give you a link to a PDF file that will contain the information I'm showing you this morning, because the PDF file will give you direct links to other places that you can get this information. As I go through the presentation, certainly this is live, so I don't have anyone muted at this point in time, so I would just ask that you would mute yourself. And if you do have a question as we go through the presentation, please interrupt me. And we'll have time at the end to also talk about different things. So when we look at this presentation today, oops, sorry about that. We're going to look at a couple different things. We want to help you understand the pathway, unique selling points, clinically proven key ingredients, key resource tools, and then nitric oxide therapy. And when you understand how to put this in terms of nitric oxide therapy, and our product of choice is ProArgi-9 Plus, that will help you to be able to say a lot more and be able to properly position information. And everything starts with this pathway. The information I'm going to share with you really is information that you need to make the decision how educated you want to be in this area to be able to provide information with people as it's necessary. Now, I'm needing to get health insurance because my wife retired from teaching, and so the health insurance that we have through the school district ends at the end of August. I met with a person on Wednesday for health insurance for myself. The person had 15 different plans, but as I was asking him questions about the different plans, I didn't feel very confident that he actually knew what he was talking about. And the reason why I bring this up is because when you're talking with people, when you understand your information, you will create confidence in that individual that you are someone that they want to work with, that they want to get the product from, and that they want to be able to pick your brain, so to speak, or know that if they ask you questions, if you don't know the answer, you'll find it. But if you can give them good information, you're going to do a much better job helping them understand how to apply ProArgi-9 Plus. So I bring up this pathway because there's two pathways for the creation of nitric oxide. There's the L-Arginine pathway through the endothelium, which is what ProArgi-9 Plus utilizes. And then there's the nitrate-nitrite pathway, which companies like Neo40 and Circo2 use. Now you'll see this image called the ProArgi-9 Plus Advantage. In the PDF, when you hover your cursor over the image, you'll see that it's got a clickable link to it, as well as I give you the URL for the video. We have this video hosted up on YouTube, and this video called the ProArgi-9 Plus Advantage spends significant time helping people understand these two different pathways and why the L-Arginine endothelial pathway is always going to be superior over the nitrate-nitrite pathway. Now, you need to understand that both pathways are valid for the creation of nitric oxide. You also need to understand that both pathways are short-lived for the creation of nitric oxide. So other ingredients are needed to continue the production of nitric oxide if you want to get long-term production of nitric oxide. And that is the goal. If you have short-term production of nitric oxide, you're going to have short-term improvements in blood flow, but you will not have any long-lasting benefits. So you must extend the life of the nitric oxide at as high a level as you can over as long a period as possible for it to be able to do all the things that nitric oxide therapy can do for you. We'll talk about those specific things later in today's presentation. So you need other ingredients in the product design to be able to continue the production of nitric oxide, to be able to get this long-term production. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because although Neo40 has tamped down their statements, Neo40 and Circo2 and other companies that use the nitrate-nitrite pathway for the creation of nitric oxide like to tell people that if you're over the age of 40, the L-Arginine pathway is dysfunctional. So in certain respects, that is true, that as a person ages, the endothelial pathway becomes dysfunctional because of damage done to the endothelium. But what they make in their statement is that that dysfunction is not reversible. It is. And so if you can begin to nourish that endothelium with the right ingredients to optimize its production of nitric oxide, one of the primary properties of improved nitric oxide production is to initiate reparative mechanisms that can begin to heal damage to the vascular system or the endothelium. So companies like Circo2 and Neo40 like to position their product using the nitrate-nitrite pathway as superior to the L-Arginine pathway. Well, that's not true. And so there's two videos that we've got produced for you that will help you, as well as this other video that I have up here, the ProArgi-9 Plus Advantage. The first 7 minutes of the ProArgi-9 Plus Advantage addresses this issue. And if you go into the truth about L-Arginine, that whole video is designed to address this issue that the L-Arginine pathway is dysfunctional, especially if you're over the age of 40. We also include some information in the video called The Truth About L-Citrulline. So again, if you're on this PDF, if you download this PDF on Monday to your computer, or if you bookmark the URL where this PDF will be hosted online, you can always get access to these videos. And these videos will help you. I have sent this video called The Truth About L-Arginine to people who send me emails stating, hey, I came across this information that says that the L-Arginine pathway is dysfunctional over the age of 40. Is that true? Or is the information accurate or whatever? And what I typically send back to them is this video called The Truth About L-Arginine. And I can tell you from my personal experience that any person who's sent me an email questioning the ability of L-Arginine to produce nitric oxide versus something like a Neo40 or the nitrate-nitrate pathway, once they've watched the video, The Truth About L-Arginine, I've never had anyone want to use the other pathway. They understand that the L-Arginine pathway is the best pathway in the creation of nitric oxide and will provide the greatest amount of optimal benefits. So these two videos are important to use. And then companies like Neo40 and Circo2, they include the ingredient L-Citrulline in their product because they understand that the nitrate-nitrite pathway, like the L-Arginine pathway, is a short-lived production of nitric oxide. So for them to get any kind of long-term improvements of nitric oxide production, they have to include the L-Citrulline ingredient. And as we point out in this video called The Truth About L-Citrulline, L-Citrulline is converted to L-Arginine, and then the L-Arginine goes down the same metabolic pathway, the L-Arginine pathway, that they're telling people is dysfunctional. At best, they're disingenuous. And so, again, having these two videos and having access to them will not only educate you in this area, but when you get those questions, these are the videos to send to people so that you can help them through a third-party validation understand L-Arginine is the best pathway for the creation of nitric oxide when it's done properly. Now, there's a couple unique selling positions or points or what is called a USP. So there's three that I use. And I bring this up because I used that this week. I had a Dr. Deegan call me who was interested in nitric oxide therapy and had been looking at several different products and wanted to know why ProArgi-9 Plus would be the product that would be best for the creation of nitric oxide. So what I shared with him are the following 3 unique selling points. The first one is that ProArgi-9 Plus is the only L-Arginine supplement recognized by the medical community. It's been in the physician's desk reference for the last 4 years, from 2014 through this current year, 2017. And the first line statement is, quote, ProArgi-9 Plus is the highest quality L-Arginine supplement in the world. So the medical community recognizes this product as the best L-Arginine supplement in the industry. The second thing is, this is the only clinically proven L-Arginine supplement in the marketplace. Now, I'll spend a little bit more time on what clinically proven means, but you can talk about single ingredients, or you could talk about studies that show that ingredients are clinically proven, but understand that the product, ProArgi-9 Plus, is clinically proven. That's a huge benefit to you. That's unique to you. No other products that I know of in the L-Arginine industry have the ability to say that their product is clinically proven. We have that ability. And then the third thing is quality assurance standards. There are 262 verified quality assurance standards. The common problem in the nutrition industry is that a lot of products do not meet their label claims, meaning that when government agencies come in and pull products off of shelves and then go and analyze those products, typically every time that you see a study done in this area, close to 50% of the products studied do not meet label claims, meaning that the ingredients that are listed on the supplement facts are either not there or are in higher quantities than what are listed, or lower quantities that are listed, or there are ingredients that are in that product that are not on the label, ingredients that shouldn't even be in the product. So it's really important that if you want reproducible results for your clients, you need to make sure that the product that you're using is going to meet its label claims. And that's one of the strong selling positions of ProArgi-9 Plus, that there's 262 verified quality assurance steps that are guaranteed up to the expiration date, so that we know that our clients are always going to get the same reproducible results. Now, when I shared that with Dr. Deegan, all the other issues with regards to competition went away. And he bought ProArgi-9 Plus. He bought a jumbo jar because he wants to use that to address some cardiovascular health issues that he has. Those are the 3 most powerful selling positions that you have. You could add a 4th one that I don't have in the slide presentation, that we have a money-back guarantee. Here in the United States, it's a 120-day money-back guarantee. I don't remember if that's the same up in Canada. For other places around the world, it's a 90-day money-back guarantee. Over in Europe, I'm pretty sure it's a 90-day money-back guarantee. So you could add a 4th unique selling position. A lot of companies will have a 30-day money-back guarantee, but we have a 120-day money-back guarantee, basically 4 months to put the product to the test, and if it doesn't meet your expectations, you can return it for a full refund. Now, when we talk about ProArgi-9 Plus being clinically proven, it's clinically proven in 2 areas. It's been clinically proven to produce a rapid increase of nitric oxide over what would happen with just L-Arginine alone, meaning that if I was using just L-Arginine as an amino acid for the creation of nitric oxide, I would get an increase in nitric oxide production. If I use ProArgi-9 Plus, my increase in nitric oxide is more rapid and at a higher level than what I would get if I was just using L-Arginine alone. That's important, but to me the more important clinically proven discovery is that ProArgi-9 Plus actually inhibits vascular inflammation. I'll come back to this in a little bit more detail a little bit later in our presentation. But vascular inflammation is what usually creates plaque formation. When the vascular system is inflamed, the body treats it as an injury. If that injury is not taken care of, then the way that the body treats it is to put a Band-Aid over it, which is what plaque is. And so as plaque forms, then over time that plaque has the ability to grow in size because other things get put inside that plaque formation. Plaque formation is what usually leads to a person having to go to the hospital to have a stent put in because that plaque has gotten so large that it occludes the artery or vessel and limits blood flow. So preventing inflammation at the beginning is hugely important. Again, clinically proven product in the ability to rapidly increase nitric oxide over and above what you would find in L-Arginine alone, and clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation in two very specific ways. We'll come back to this a little bit later in our presentation today. Now, I also cover this in our, when I do the live Tuesday night, the second and fourth Tuesdays of every month, I do a live presentation on how nitric oxide therapy addresses cardiovascular concerns. We also highlight these clinically proven statements in this presentation. Here is a recording of that presentation. So again, if you click on the image or if you click on the URL, that'll take you to the video. Now, in that presentation, as well as in other presentations that we have about ProArgi Plus, we talk about key ingredients. There are 6 key ingredients. If you want to optimize the production of nitric oxide, these are the 6 most important ingredients to have in your product. Certainly, L-Arginine is always the first and most important ingredient because the endothelium uses L-Arginine to convert to nitric oxide. L-Citrulline is important because when you convert L-Arginine to nitric oxide, the other metabolic compounds that come off of that process, L-Citrulline can convert back to L-Arginine. So it's kind of like keeping the pump going. So L-Arginine primes the pump. L-Citrulline keeps that pump operating at optimal levels. So the L-Citrulline is critically important to have so that you can get long-term production of nitric oxide. For Black population groups, there's an enzyme called arginase. Every person carries arginase in their bloodstream. It's used to help you detoxify yourself from ammonia waste products. It's part of the urea acid cycle. Well, what happens is when arginase, the enzyme, comes in contact with L-Arginine, the amino acid, it changes L-Arginine to a different compound to go down the urea acid cycle. So then L-Arginine is no longer available to the body for the conversion to nitric oxide. And because Black population groups have high levels of arginase in their bloodstream, it's one of the reasons why they don't utilize L-Arginine as effectively as what they could, which then contributes to cardiovascular health issues because it then limits nitric oxide production. L-Citrulline bypasses the arginase enzyme so that L-Citrulline can be converted by the endothelium into L-Arginine and then used by the enzymes of the endothelium to convert to nitric oxide. So L-Citrulline is hugely important, especially for Black population groups. And if you do any work in the Black community, we see significant improvements through ProArgi-9 Plus, or what we call nitric oxide therapy, because the L-Citrulline is part of the equation and helps to produce higher levels of nitric oxide. The next one that you see is resveratrol or red wine extract. When people see red wine extract, they think it's alcohol. So people in the Muslim community who adhere, and other people in religious communities who adhere to a strict non-alcohol lifestyle will see that and then think that they can't use this product. Well, red wine extract is just what it says. It's an extract from wine. There is no alcohol content. Resveratrol, the common theme or the common word for that would be red wine extract. If you use resveratrol, that's a trademark name. All resveratrol is an extract of red wine. It's a polyphenol. And so there's no alcohol content to it. And as a polyphenol, the purpose of that is to to enhance enzymatic activity of the endothelium, and to protect nitric oxide once it's been produced from free radical damage. The next two ingredients that you see are vitamin D3 and K2. They work best together to regulate calcium levels in the bloodstream. The creation of nitric oxide by the endothelium through the enzymes of the endothelium is a calcium-dependent reaction, meaning that for that reaction to be optimized, you've got to have calcium present. So by having vitamin D3 and K2 present, that helps to regulate calcium levels properly in the bloodstream to be able to, again, optimize the ability to create this nitric oxide. By itself, vitamin D3 has other important properties, and technically it's not a vitamin, it's actually a hormone. And so almost every cell in the body has a receptor site for vitamin D3 because it's that important for helping cells properly work. Vitamin K2 is different than vitamin K1. Many companies will use vitamin K1 because it's cheaper to use. The problem is vitamin K1 doesn't typically support vascular health and may actually interfere with blood thinning medications. Vitamin K2 supports vascular health because it regulates calcium coming out of the bones. Vitamin K2 is kind of like a traffic cop. Vitamin D3 helps the body uptake calcium, and then vitamin K2 is the traffic cop and says, hey, you're staying in the bones unless vitamin K2 knows that it needs calcium in other areas of the body. So it will then allow that calcium to leave the bones and go to the places in the body where it's necessary. So vitamin K2 is extremely important. Plus, there's plenty of clinically proven research showing that when you increase vitamin K2, you can reverse the calcification of the vascular system. Some people, especially older adults, as they age, will have calcification of the vascular system. Just by taking an increased level of vitamin K2 can help them reverse that calcification. So having these two ingredients, vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 in the product mix is extremely important for the calcium to be able to optimize nitric oxide production. And then you see pomegranate fruit concentrate. This is huge. And I'll get people who will call me and ask me, well, how much L-arginine and how much L-Citrulline do you have in your product? Well, I can clearly show them that there's 5 grams of pharmaceutical grade L-arginine in the product because it's listed in the directions on the canister. However, the L-Citrulline is in the proprietary blend. Now, Synergy's never disclosed how much L-Citrulline is in their product, but if you look at other ingredient lists that Synergy has to put on the label for places over in Europe they have to disclose the amount. So my best guess is that the L-Citrulline in ProArgi Plus is somewhere between 200 to 250 milligrams. Now, in the United States, by law, you have to list ingredients according to quantity. So you'll notice that if you look at your supplement facts for ProArgi Plus, I've got mixed berry in front of me. There's 6.5 grams of the proprietary blend. We know that 5 grams come from L-arginine. It's the first ingredient listed. And then if you're looking at the mixed berry, xylitol is the next ingredient, pomegranate fruit concentrate is next, and then L-citrulline. So my best guess is that the pomegranate fruit concentrate is most likely somewhere between 300 to 400 milligrams of pomegranate fruit concentrate. Why am I bringing this up? Because pomegranate fruit concentrate is hugely important. Pomegranate fruit concentrate actually enhances the enzymatic activity of the endothelium to produce higher levels of nitric oxide. There are peer-reviewed clinical studies showing how pomegranate fruit concentrate by itself can reverse plaque formation within the vascular system through its ability to increase the production of nitric oxide. And when I get people asking me, well, you know, you only have what, 200, 250 milligrams of L-citrulline. You know, Dr. Borger is out there saying that, you know, your product's inferior to his because he's got a better ratio. And the answer to that is pomegranate fruit concentrate. Now, if you were just dealing with 2 ingredients, L-Arginine and L-Citrulline, then maybe Dr. Borger would be correct. But when you're looking at a synergistic blend of ingredients, then what Dr. Borger has to say is not accurate. He's just trying to sell his product. And pomegranate fruit concentrate is hugely important because that enhances the enzymatic activity of the endothelium to produce higher levels of nitric oxide. And how do we know that that is true? We go back to our unique selling position. Dr. Borger's product is not clinically proven. ProArgi-9 Plus is clinically proven to produce higher levels of nitric oxide than L-Arginine alone. And part of that equation of why is because of the pomegranate fruit concentrate. That is a key ingredient, and many companies don't include that, but we include that in ProArgi-9 Plus. Hugely important. Again, we go through these different ingredients in the recorded webinar for how nitric oxide therapy addresses cardiovascular concerns. And then in many of the other videos that I have, we also walk a person through these 6 key ingredients. Now, with regards to resource tools, I've created, well, I and others have created a lot of resource tools that will help you. Let me go to the internet here. So one of the first resource tools, we've been working on moving this platform off of ClickFunnels because we're going to be doing away with ClickFunnels and having it as a standalone location. So the Synergy Library, if you type in thesynergylibrary.com, this platform is now live. You can go on there. And when you scroll down on this platform, you're going to see Health and Business Video Library. And if you click Enter here, you'll go into the library. And we've moved our videos over into this library. And on that library, as you scroll down, you'll see them as health videos, general topics, sickle cell anemia series, athletic performance, and business videos. And what you can do is, like on health videos, you can click on health videos, and then what happens is that is going to load up all the videos that we have in this area from African American health, Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular concerns, diabetic complications, high blood pressure, post-traumatic stress disorder, the Chris North interview, Raynaud's syndrome, sexual function, go on down here, stroke prevention, the secret to cardiovascular health, women's heart health, wound healing. Now, because we're doing a live presentation on Zoom, what you would normally see, these are all YouTube videos. You'll see the thumbnail sketches for each, or the thumbnails for each of these videos. It's just taking a period of time for those to load onto the system. You can go to general topics, and in the general topics, when you click on that and it opens up, so when general topics opens up, again, you have other products in Synergy worldwide. We've got a video on Mystica and E9 and essential greens. And then we have how L-Arginine compares, how L-Arginine Plus compares to ProArgi-9 Plus. L-Arginine Plus is our major competition. Then we have L-Arginine benefits human performance. So we've got a video on liquid chlorophyll, or over in Europe it's called PhytoLife. We have the ProArgi Plus Advantage video that I talked about earlier. The Truth About L-Arginine video is in here. Why use ProArgi Plus? And then we've got a video on the Chicago Sky study that is in here. So this is a resource tool that you have, because you can do a couple things. You could send the whole library to an individual, or if you wanted to come in here and you couldn't remember where the PDF is, you could come into the Synergy Library, click on the video library, go to general topics, and then if you right-click on that video, you can copy the video URL, and then you can send that to that individual. So you can send that individual video to that person and say, hey, you had a question on Neil 40's statement, or you had a question about, hey, L-Arginine pathway being dysfunctional if you're over the age of 40. Watch this video called The Truth About L-Arginine. Here's the URL for it, and then let's talk. I think you'll find out that that information that's being sold to you is not accurate. Here is a good video. And the nice thing about this video called Truth About L-Arginine, I don't promote any product. I do not promote ProArgi-9 Plus. all I do is I talk in terms about L-Arginine. So I wanted to make sure that that video called The Truth About L-Arginine did not promote any product, only spoke about L-Arginine and the statements made. Also, it's important to note that you may get people talk to you about these test strips for nitric oxide. Those test strips for nitric oxide through Berkeley and other companies do not directly measure nitric oxide. What they measure are nitrites in the saliva. So the companies that use those test strips are companies that use a beetroot pathway or a nitrate-nitrite pathway for the creation of nitric oxide, and then either give or sell these test strips so that you could measure your increase in nitric oxide production. Again, it's disingenuous information given to the general public. They're misleading the general public, and so you need to understand how to answer that issue. This video called The Truth About L-Arginine addresses that issue in the back end of the video, because in the use of those test strips, if you use a nitrate-nitrite pathway, then those test strips will work because they're measuring nitrites in the saliva. Can there be a correlation to increased nitric oxide production? Yes, there is a correlation, but you are not measuring nitric oxide in the bloodstream. So if you use an L-Arginine pathway for the creation of nitric oxide, those test strips will never show a change in color. And the reason why is when you're using the L-Arginine pathway for the creation of nitric oxide, you could have a huge increase in nitric oxide, but you're not producing any nitrites. So they are not going to show up in the saliva test through those test strips. Again, they are disingenuous. Also in this video called The Truth About L-Arginine, you may get someone who sends you information about, hey, I've heard that if you've had a heart attack, you shouldn't use L-Arginine. That is the Johns Hopkins study. And in the Johns Hopkins study, we talk about that in The Truth About L-Arginine. In the Johns Hopkins study, they had two groups. All of them had heart attacks. So post-heart attack, one group was getting L-Arginine, the other group was getting a placebo. And what they found in their study is that the group that was getting the L-Arginine had more post-heart attacks than the group that was using the placebo. And they stopped the study early, and then they made a publication that L-Arginine was not good for people who've had a heart attack because it seems to contribute to more heart attacks afterwards. Now, that study, if you go and look at the study, and we actually go into that study in this video called The Truth About L-Arginine, they used a synthetic form of L-Arginine, and they combined that L-Arginine with something called HCl. Hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloride acid. So they used the hydrochloride as a carrier molecule to get the synthetic L-Arginine into the bloodstream. They were giving individuals 3 grams 3 times a day. So at least in the study, they understood that by using L-Arginine alone, you had to use multiple applications. But when you look at the amount that they were actually getting, 3 grams, almost half of that weight was in the hydrochloride acid. So what happens is when that is cleaved off of the L-Arginine, HCl reduces potassium levels in the bloodstream. Why is this important? Because most heart attack patients are already on medications that reduce potassium levels. In a contraction, in a muscle contraction, which the heart is a muscle, sodium's involved in the contraction, potassium's involved in relaxation. Without potassium, the muscle can't relax. So if you lower potassium levels in a person's bloodstream, then you increase the probability of creating a muscle spasm, because once the muscle contracts, it can't relax because the potassium is not there. So the problem in that study was not the L-Arginine, but was the HCl. That was most likely the contributing factor And again, we address that in this video called The Truth About L-Arginine. So when you get a person who sends you an email, hey, I came across this information that for people who've had a heart attack, they shouldn't be using L-Arginine. You know, what should I do? And you can send them this video called The Truth About L-Arginine. Now, we also have an ebook that we created. That ebook is hosted up on our Synergy Family website, and it's called NO Therapy. This ebook, again, is downloadable to your computer, so you can go to the URL. You can also download it to your computer. All you have to do is click here on the download, and you can download it directly to your computer. And this is our ebook on nitric oxide therapy. In addition to that, you have the Global Health Makeover website. Oh, I'll take that back. Before I get there, I've got another PDF that's up here. You know, if you're interested in how to create a business around ProArgi-9 Plus, especially around what we call nitric oxide therapy with our product of choice being ProArgi-9 Plus, we have, again, a PDF that walks you through how to price point your product, ProArgi-9 Plus, for achieving the greatest amount of sales. And again, that's up there. You also have the Global Health Makeover website that Bob Wishmeyer and Dane Orge has put together for everyone in Synergy worldwide to use. And if you hover over resources, you'll see the Cardio Wellness Library that if you click on there, you'll see many of the videos that I showed you that are part in the Synergy Worldwide video library. And then if you go to Synergy Worldwide, you can actually download a PDF. And that PDF, you can, again, download to your computer. You can send this to people. And in this PDF, let me blow it up a little bit more because it talks about the areas where ProArgi-9 Plus is clinically proven on this PDF that's available to you. ProArgi-9 Plus is clinically proven for rapid increase of nitric oxide. And then for the second one, where we talk about ProArgi-9 Plus clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation, you can see here that it states that studies have confirmed that the unique combination of ingredients found in ProArgi-9 Plus do indeed potently inhibit myeloperoxidase, a problematic enzyme that obstructs nitric oxide and helps to reduce the oxidation of LDL cholesterol. So what does that mean? Well, ProArgi-9 Plus has been clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation in two specific ways. One, it potently inhibits myeloperoxidase. Myeloperoxidase is an enzyme biomarker produced by white blood cells in relationship to inflammation. Why is that important? Myeloperoxidase suppresses nitric oxide expression, meaning that it prevents nitric oxide from doing what nitric oxide is supposed to do. So ProArgi-9 Plus inhibits that enzyme myeloperoxidase, and it potently inhibits it. That means that if a person has vascular inflammation and their white blood cells are reacting to it and producing myeloperoxidase, the ProArgi-9 Plus is going to prevent myeloperoxidase from stopping the benefits of nitric oxide. The other thing is when you look at the reduction of oxidation of LDL cholesterol, very specifically it's very low density lipoprotein, that oxidation of LDL cholesterol is what typically causes vascular inflammation, which then, if not properly addressed, leads to plaque formation, which over time grows larger and larger, which causes most cardiovascular health issues. This is really important to understand because we have a product, the Science of ProArgi-9 Plus, that directly helps people improve their vascular health in some very specific ways. First off, rapid increase of nitric oxide, and we're going to cover what that means in just a little bit, as well as the prevention of vascular inflammation. So all of these things are available to you as resources, and what I did in the PDF that I'm going to provide for on Monday, I give you an image that you can click on, as well as I give you the direct URL. So we've got the Synergy library, we've got the ebook, PDF. We have the business plan on how to create profits through nitric oxide therapy. We have a link to the Global Health Makeover website, and it goes just to the website, but remember, hover over resources, click on Cardio Wellness Library, and then this link, this image here that I just showed you, you can click on the image, which will take you to the PDF that Synergy Worldwide put together, as well as you can click on this URL. Now, a couple final things before we open up for questions. If you talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy and what it can do to help people improve their vascular health, you will be able to share a whole lot more than if you talk in terms of ProArgi-9 Plus. So always learn how to talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy to create interest, and you can share a whole lot more information about what nitric oxide therapy can do to improve a person's health. And then our product of choice is ProArgi-9 Plus, and you have your unique selling positions. So understand that the 1998 Nobel Prize in Medicine was awarded to 3 American researchers for discovering how the lining of your vascular system, called the endothelium, converts the amino acid L-Citrulline into nitric oxide. And in nitric oxide therapy, nitric oxide has 3 primary functions. First, nitric oxide relaxes the smooth muscle of the vascular wall, causing what's known as vasodilation. Basically, all that means is we're going to improve blood flow. If I improve blood flow, I'm going to do a better job delivering oxygen and nutrients, properly remove waste products, so I provide a better environment for cells, tissues, and organs to function. And for many people who have blood pressure issues, the relaxation of the vascular wall reduces resistance to blood flow, which naturally then helps bring their blood pressure back to a normal range. The second thing is nitric oxide naturally keeps blood platelet cells from sticking together. So it naturally lowers the risk for strokes and heart attacks. And then the third thing that nitric oxide therapy does is that when it's at high enough levels, over a long enough period of time, nitric oxide will initiate reparative mechanisms to heal the damage done to the endothelium, which can then result in the reversal of plaque formations and calcifications. Now, if a person calls you and says, hey, can ProArgi-9 Plus reverse my plaque formation? You got to be extremely careful how you answer that question. The way that I would answer that question is, well, again, I'm not a doctor. All I can tell you that if you look at nitric oxide therapy, it has 3 key properties. First off, that nitric oxide, if you're properly using nitric oxide and creating nitric oxide through the endothelial pathway, you're going to see what's called vasodilation. We're going to open up the vascular system to improve your blood flow. And then the second thing that it's going to do is nitric oxide can keep blood platelet cells from sticking together, so it naturally reduces your risk for strokes and heart attacks. And then specific to your question that you asked me is that nitric oxide at high enough levels over a long enough period of time can initiate reparative mechanisms which can potentially heal damage to the endothelium, reversing plaque formation and calcification to, again, provide you with a more flexible lining of the vascular system. And as I help to bring more of the endothelium back into a healthy functioning tissue, if I'm supplying it with the right ingredients, then I can optimize that production of nitric oxide to create even higher levels of nitric oxide in the bloodstream to continue that healing process. So I talk in terms of nitric oxide therapy to answer that question. Now, the product of choice that we use to create this nitric oxide is ProArgi-9 Plus. And the reason why we use this product is, first, it's the only L-Citrulline supplement recognized by the medical community. It's been listed in the physician's desk reference for the last 4 years. It's also the only clinically proven L-Citrulline supplement in the marketplace, clinically proven to produce higher levels of nitric oxide than L-Citrulline alone, and is also clinically proven to prevent vascular inflammation, which is what usually leads to that plaque formation that you're asking about. And then third, there are 262 verified quality assurance steps, so that if you decide to use this product, I know that every time that you use this product and get it from me, you're always going to get the same reproducible results. That's why we carry ProArgi-9 Plus. That's why we believe this product is the best of all the products that can be used to harness the benefits of nitric oxide therapy. So, do I have any questions from anyone that's on this morning?
Hello, Dan. It's Donald.
Yes, Donald.
No questions from me as such, but I'm glad that you've done this comprehensive video, because those of us who've been around you long enough know of all the videos and where to find them and stuff like that. And so putting them here in, putting this in a concise webinar gives new distributors the opportunity to find the information readily. And again, I commend you for doing this.
Thank you.
One other thing, I must point out that there are, other companies that sell the L-Citrulline, who sells L-Citrulline as a separate product. So unless an individual knows that ProArgi-9 already has L-Citrulline in it, and they just go and buy from this box store L-Citrulline, they're not familiar, or they don't know that they're getting just L-Citrulline alone and not L-Citrulline with L-Citrulline.
Yes. Yeah, I was talking to a potential client yesterday who buys L-Citrulline and L-Citrulline separately. And again, he could be more cost effective and have a better product because ProArgi-9 Plus incorporates and understand, like when a person typically buys L-Citrulline from a health food store, that L-Citrulline is usually in 500 to 1,000 milligram capsules. Well, one scoop of ProArgi-9 Plus is 5 grams or 5,000 milligrams. So that would be equal to either 10 500 milligram capsules or 5 1,000 milligram capsules from what they're buying in the store. Plus, you have all these other ingredients. So ProArgi-9 Plus is more cost effective in helping a person get the ingredients that they need to optimize nitric oxide production. Anyone else have any questions or comments before we say goodbye?
Yeah, Dan, this is Homer. I totally agree with Donald. This was awesome. At what point do you drip this kind of deep scientific information to new distributors? You just give it to them and let them absorb it, or do you just slowly work into it?
Well, what I would suggest is, now that I have this PDF that will be available on Monday, for new distributors, I would just give them this PDF and the recording that goes with it. And again, I'm a firm believer, if you use resource tools to teach and train, it saves you from having to spend all that time. So the question would be to say to that individual, hey, I'm going to send you this PDF called The Science of ProArgi-9 Plus. And what I want you to do is I want you to spend an hour a day over the next 7 days going through the PDF, which means that, read through it, click on the videos, listen to the videos in full, write down any questions that you have, and then let's set up a time to talk so that I can make sure that you understand. And then we'll go back onto that Science of ProArgi-9 Plus and help you understand what things do you need to remember. So, like if I was teaching you, excuse me one second, if I was teaching you this, I would just want to make sure that people understood the 3 unique selling positions. To me, this is critically important because, as Donald shared and other ones know, there are a lot of products. I mean, I listen to the radio and I hear people talking about nitric oxide therapy and promoting products on the radio. So more and more people are becoming aware of nitric oxide. So there's a huge amount of products that are out there. What separates us from the rest of the competition? Well, we're the only L-Citrulline supplement recognized by the medical community. We've been listed in the physician's desk reference for the last 4 years. And if you look at that reference book, the first line quote is, ProArgi-9 Plus is the highest quality L-Citrulline supplement in the world. So I emphasize in the world. Plus, we are the only clinically proven L-Arginine supplement. None of the other products are clinically proven in the L-Arginine industry. We are. And then a common problem to nutritional supplements is quality. Well, we have 262 verified quality assurance steps so that if you use this product and you get results from it because it comes with a 120-day money-back guarantee, I can guarantee that if you continue to use this product, you're always going to get the same reproducible results. So again, it's working with your new distributors, just like any new job that you take. When you first take that job, you're not confident in everything that you can do in that job, unless it's a lateral move to another company doing the same thing. But even there's still a learning curve because they most likely do things slightly different than what you're used to. So people need to understand that it's a learning curve. And if you want to grow a large client base of people using product, then the more that you can provide them with the information that they need. It's not dumping all this information on an individual. It's being able to use the information when a question comes up to answer a question so that people know that, hey, this person knows what they're talking about. Or if you don't know the answer, hey, that's a great question. Let me do some research and I'll get back to you. So you asked me about L-Arginine and post-heart attacks. Hey, I came across this great video called The Truth About L-Arginine. Because you watched that video, you will know in the video where the time sequence is that talks about the Johns Hopkins study. I would recommend that you watch that whole video, but specifically if you're cut for time, go to time marker such and such and watch the information on the Johns Hopkins study. You'll understand that it wasn't the L-Arginine that was the problem. It was the HCl. So again, understanding where you can find your resources and then understanding the information in your resource so you know how to utilize that to answer a person. And I can guarantee you if you do that, that individual who had the question will look at you and say, thank you. You answered my question. And if they've watched the video, you've separated you and ProArgi Plus from the rest of the competition, and you've increased your probability for them to buy product from you. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, I've got a question here in the chat box, and the question is, what do you think about the claims made by the people behind Cardio Miracle? And I haven't done a video on Cardio Miracle. I have some mixed things about Cardio Miracle, but because I haven't done my homework on them, I'd rather not answer that at this point in time. If you ask me a question with regards to, and I don't think I think Cardio Miracle is John Hewitt's product. If you ask me what do I think about Dr. Borger and his product, I'll be more than happy to answer that one. And Dr. Borger's product, his claims that he makes on his website, I haven't yet taken time to do a video, but he is completely disingenuous in what he states on his website with regards to ProArgi Plus. For Dr. Borger, who used to promote ProArgi Plus and used to show us slides that if you use 2 scoops of ProArgi Plus on a daily basis, you had the long-term production of nitric oxide, so that if you use 2 scoops spaced 12 hours apart, you would not return to your baseline levels the next day. In fact, if you used it continuously every day for 2 or 3 weeks, you actually increased your baseline levels of nitric oxide by 50%. That was his study. That was his slide presentation. Now, he doesn't say that on his website. He completely dishes ProArgi Plus. Fortunately, there are still video out there on YouTube that shows what he originally talked about with regards to ProArgi Plus. And so we haven't changed the product ProArgi Plus. Again, it's a video that I have in my mind to do, and at some point in time I'll do that. But I don't have enough information on Cardio Miracle, because if that's the John Hewitt product, I need to do a little bit more study on that one. Anyone else? Yes.
The only thing I would say about John Hewitt is that he too was a believer in ProArgi-9 Plus. There are videos up there with him on ProArgi-9 Plus.
Yes. Yeah, I know. People do funny things when money's involved.
Always true.
Anyone else with any questions or comments before we say goodbye? All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time and attention. Monday, I will have an email newsletter that goes out, which will have a link to this PDF, as well as it will have a link to the YouTube video, because we recorded today's presentation. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed Saturday. We'll talk to you next Saturday.
Soon.
Soon. Thank you.